Hello and welcome to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. I'm going to talk this week about how plans are made for the direction of human society, and then the mind manipulation techniques are triggered to bring about that end. So we'll start off by looking at the fact that there is a plan. I've talked in these videocasts and at length in my books about numbers of examples of confirmation that what is happening in the world now is not happening in a random fashion. I mean, if you look at my books over the years, I mean, I'm watching my books unfold now on the television news, in news stories being delivered all the time. And that's not because I sat in a darkened room, going into the ether, but because if you can access this projected plan, then unless something comes along to intervene and stop it, then you can predict the future with pretty good confidence in terms of theme, and in many cases even a lot of detail. One of these examples came in 1969. This is just one, many I could give. And it was a guy called Dr. Richard Day. Dr. Richard Day was a national executive chief of Planned Parenthood, a Rockefeller organization, which came out of the eugenics movement. And he was a Rockefeller insider. And as a result of that, he would have access to this projected plan, this projected agenda. And for whatever reason, in 1969, he addressed a group of pediatricians in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and asked them to turn off recording equipment, not to take notes, because he was going to tell them how the world was going to change. Now, these are just a few of the things he said, because one doctor there, one pediatrician, did take notes and kept a copy of them. And before he died in, I think it was about 2004, he did a series of taped interviews describing what Day had said all that time ago in 1969, actually on March the 20th, when he addressed the Pittsburgh Pediatric Society. Now, these are just a few of the things he said were going to happen, because it was all preordained, it was all in the pipeline, and nothing could stop it. Well, we can stop it if we, A, find out it's going on, and B, get our asses in gear and do something about it. Anyway, these are some of the things he said. Technology used for reproduction without sex, 1969. Families to diminish in importance. You look at any of these projected versions of the agenda, and you'll see destroying the family unit as in virtually all of them. Euthanasia and the demise pill. Limiting access to affordable medical care makes eliminating the elderly easier. There are many, many ways now that the elderly are being eliminated, not least by doctors saying you're going to die, so why don't we just let you die rather than do anything for you, when people who have had that said to them and not gone on these pathways to death by having drugs and food and what have you withdrawn, they've lived for a long, long time afterwards. They weren't dying at all. This is very interesting, given, well, many examples. SARS, swine flu, and all these health scares, and now, of course, the big one, centre stage, is Ebola. Dr. Richard Day said there would be new, difficult to diagnose and untreatable diseases. And there's a reason for that, because they're coming out of military laboratories. I'll get into that later on. Suppressing cancer cures as a means of population control. He was saying that Rockefeller institutions in 1969 knew the cure for cancer, but people have got to die of something, he said, so why not cancer? As long as it's not me, you know what I mean? Restructuring education as a tool of indoctrination. That's not been done, is it? My goodness me. More time in schools, but pupils wouldn't learn anything. You notice that I mean, there's a guy in the education establishment in this country, they call it Ofsted, who's saying that children should start to go to school at 2. What? But wherever you look, that's the case. What he said in 1969, more time at school, learning less. Because they don't want educated people, intelligent people. They want workers, obedient workers, as George Carlin put it. Controlling who has access to information. Schools as the hub of the community. Have you noticed how more and more parents are losing a say over what happens to their children? It's being given to the school. Changing laws to promote moral and social chaos. Out of chaos, you can bring your order, your new order. And then you have more chaos and you bring some more order, and that way you transform society. The encouragement of drug abuse to create a jungle atmosphere in cities and towns, get them frightened. That justifies more law enforcement of more and more extreme kinds. Promote alcohol abuse, restrictions on travel. The need for more jails. No more psychological or physical security. It's going to be a theme of the videocast this week. No more psychological security, especially because of something called future shock, which I'm going to go into. Crime used to manage society. That's clearly happening. Curtailment of US industrial preeminence. Happening. Massively happened. Shifting populations and economies, tearing out the social roots, taking away any sense of stability or unity or order. Sex and violence inculcated through entertainment. What's her name? Miley Cyrus and all that stuff. Look at it. Implanted ID cards, microchips. I've been talking about that for what, 20 years or more. The microchip agenda and the transhumanist agenda. What are we seeing now? More and more proposals to microchip everything, microchip people. Food control. Control if people eat or not, unless they do what you say they do, you got them. Same with water. Weather control. This is happening all the time now. Manipulation of weather, extremes of weather. Oh, it's climate change. No, you're manipulating it, mate. All right. This guy, Richard Day, was actually worked in weather manipulation during the Second World War. Knowing how people respond, making them do what you want. That's classic mass mind control, which is what future shock is part of. Falsified scientific research. Global warming, I rest my case. Use of terrorism, 1969. Look at it. Surveillance, implants, and televisions that watch you, smart TVs. This is Orwell's telescreens, of course. And the arrival of the totalitarian global system. Now, the normal course of events, cause comes before effect. You have the cause, then you have the effect. But what happens with this conspiracy is that they decide their effect first. This is what we want to happen. And then they have to say, well, how do we create a cause that has that effect? And that's what mind manipulation and social engineering is all about. And it is, there's a massive network of organizations that around the world that are dedicated just to manipulating public opinion. And what is that? Mass mind control.